Hello and welcome back to the Azure DevOps course. In this lesson, we'll explain the difference between the compile time variables and the runtime variables. So, what's a compile time variable? A compile time variable is a variable that is substituted before the pipeline runs. So, before even any script has been executed in the pipeline, the compile time variable is substituted. And to substitute a compile time variable, we must use the template expression. So, we can access the compile time variable. Also, the parameters is accessed using this template expression because the parameters is the compile time variables. Okay, to access a runtime variable, we use this macro expression. A runtime variable is a variable that can be changed in the runtime. So the parameters can't be changed in the runtime, but the variable can be changed in the runtime. But when you access the variable with the compile time expression, the template expression, you get the compile time substitution. You get the initial value of the variable that you have given before running the pipeline. So that is the difference between the template expression and the macro expression. The macro expression substitutes a runtime variable. The template expression substitutes a compile time variable and the parameters. And here this runtime expression is also for the runtime, but this runtime expression is used only in the conditions of the script, and that depends on, you can't print a runtime variable with this expression. Okay. I have made a pipeline to demonstrate the difference between the compile time and runtime variables. Okay, here I'm using a parameter called environment and a variable called one. This variable called one has a value which is initial value text, and here we are printing the parameter here using the compile time expression and printing our variable using the two ways, using the compile time expression and using the runtime macro expression, which is $ and round bracket. We are printing the same variable using the two ways. This is the compile time way and the runtime way. And here in the other script here, we are changing the runtime variable. Notice with me now, we can change the variable, but the parameters can't be changed. So now we have changed the variable 1 to make its value a second value. And in the third script here, we are printing the same variable, which is 1, using the two ways, the compile time and the runtime. So now, after changing the variable 1, but when substituting with a compile time, the change doesn't happen. The change doesn't happen when we access the variable 1 after a change using the compile time format, because this format is substituted before even the pipeline runs. So before even this script is executed, which changes the value. But this variable here, this variable format here, the macro format, will have the change of the variable, because this format, the macro format, $ round brackets, is substituted in the runtime. So let's run this pipeline and see how everything works. I will run it now. So now the pipeline has finished. So here in the first script that prints the parameter here with the compile time format and prints our variable using the two formats, the compile time and the runtime macro. Now the both has the same value, which is initial value. And in the next script here, we are changing our variable, which is called 1 here. And this third script, we print this variable, but we accessed it using the two formats, the compile time format and the runtime format. And we see here when we access it using the compile time format, it gives us the initial value. The change doesn't exist here. But when we access it using the macro runtime format, the variable value hasn't changed. So that is the difference between the compile time variables and the runtime variables. The compile time variables is substituted before even any script is executed, before the pipeline runs, but the runtime variable is substituted during the script execution. So that is the difference between them. And that's all for this lecture. We have learned the difference between the compile time and the runtime variables. See you in the next lecture.